50,000 years ago, you are lying on the ground. Beside you, a fire, but not a big fire, a dying one, the kind that gives more shadow than light, the kind where the coals glow orange but the flames are mostly gone. The circle of warmth is shrinking, and beyond that circle, darkness. Complete darkness. Somewhere out there, something is breathing. You cannot see it, but it is there, heavy, patient, low to the ground. A lion. It can see you perfectly. Its eyes are built for exactly this, for darkness, for stillness, for finding things that cannot defend themselves. You are unconscious. You cannot run. You cannot fight. You cannot even hear it approaching. Everything about this moment says you should not survive the night. And yet, the lion does not move. It stands at the edge of the dark for a long time. It watches, it waits, then it turns around and walks away. This is not a story. This is something that happened constantly across human history, across Africa, across Asia, across every continent where humans slept in the open near predators. A sleeping deer is food. A sleeping zebra is food. A sleeping rabbit is food. But a sleeping human is something different. And the reason why will completely change the way you think about predators, about humans, and about what your species actually is. Most people imagine predators one way, eyes locked, body low, always ready to attack, always hunting, a perfect killing machine that attacks anything smaller than itself. That is not how predators work. Scientists who spent decades studying predators in the wild discovered something surprising. Predators are not hunting machines. They are risk managers. Every single time a predator decides whether to attack something, it runs a calculation. Fast, automatic, completely invisible, but happening every time. The question is always the same. Is the reward worth the risk? This is called optimal foraging theory. And once you understand it, predator behavior starts making a completely different kind of sense. Here is why risk matters so much to a predator. In the wild, there are no hospitals. There are no doctors. There is no recovery time. A lion with a broken tooth cannot crush bone. A leopard with a damaged leg cannot climb trees to store food. A cheetah with a torn muscle cannot chase prey at speed. One injury can mean the end. Researchers studying predator populations found that even a single bad hunt, one kick from a zebra, one horn from a buffalo, one unexpected resistance from prey, permanently changes how a predator behaves. The animal becomes more cautious, more careful. It remembers. So predators do not attack everything they could attack. They attack things where the reward is high and the risk is low. A sleeping human looks like a low-risk target, but looks are not the whole story. And to understand what a predator is actually calculating when it sees a sleeping human, we need to go back much further, because once upon a time, humans were not a risk at all. Here is a fact that changes everything. For millions of years, humans were on the menu, not occasionally, not in extreme situations, regularly, consistently, as a normal part of the food chain. In South Africa, scientists found a small skull. It belonged to a child about 3 years old. They named it the Taung child. It lived about 2.5 million years ago. When they looked closely at the eye sockets, they found marks, specific marks, made by talons, large ones. An eagle had killed this child, carried it away, and eaten it. Then researchers found another skull, called SK54. It had 2 small round holes in the top, perfectly spaced. Exactly the distance between the upper teeth of an ancient leopard. A large cat had bitten through this skull from above. The way a leopard kills prey today, biting the skull, not the throat. And there was something worse. Scientists identified a predator called Dinofelis, a large cat, heavier than a lion, built for ambush. When researchers studied cave sites where Dinofelis lived, they found human bones, cracked, scattered, mixed in with the bones of other prey animals. We were not living beside predators. We were being eaten by them. For millions of years, the answer to the predator's question, is a human worth attacking, was automatic. Yes, absolutely. Humans were slow, weak, small. They had no claws, no thick hide, no real weapons. They were easy prey, so something had to change, something enormous. Something that rewrote the entire relationship between humans and every predator on Earth. It started with a small orange glow. Imagine you are a lion. You have lived your entire life in darkness. Night is yours. Night is safe. Night is where prey is vulnerable and you are powerful. Then one night, you see something that has never existed before. Not lightning, not sunrise. Something small and steady and alive, sitting on the ground in the middle of your hunting ground, glowing, burning, not moving. And gathered around it, completely calm, humans. At Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, researchers found burned bones and ash going back 1 million years. Humans were controlling fire that long ago. At another site called Gesher Benot Yaakov in Israel, evidence of controlled fire appears 790,000 years ago. These dates matter for one reason. Fire did not just keep humans warm, it did not just cook their food, it created a circle of light in the darkness. And that circle of light sent a message that every predator understood immediately. The night, which had always belonged to them, now had something inside it that burned without dying. Think about how strange that was. Every other prey animal disappeared into the darkness. This one brought its own sun. Predators that approached fire camps began making a different kind of calculation. The light made it impossible to sneak close undetected. The flames were confusing, unpredictable. Slowly, cautiously, predators began changing their routes, their hunting patterns, their approach to human camps. But fire alone was not the end of the story, because fires go out. And what happens to a sleeping human when the fire goes out? To answer that, predators needed to learn something new, something that would cost some of them everything. Here is a rule that every predator on Earth knows from birth. Prey runs, predators chase. That is the system. It is millions of years old. A zebra runs. A deer runs. A wildebeest runs. Everything that is prey runs. Running means the predator has to get close. And close is fine. Close is where predators are built to be. Then humans stopped running. Or more precisely, humans found a way to be dangerous before a predator could get close. In 1995, scientists digging at a site in Germany called Schöningen pulled something extraordinary out of the mud. 8 wooden spears, each one 6 to 8 feet long, perfectly shaped, carved and balanced like a javelin. They were 300,000 years old. These were not walking sticks, not digging tools. These were weapons designed to be thrown, to travel through the air, to kill something from a distance. And researchers found something else that changes the story further. Evidence of cooperative hunting, humans working together in groups, driving animals into position, using strategy and communication to take down prey far larger than themselves. Think about what this combination meant for a predator. For the first time, attacking prey might result in being attacked from a distance, before making contact, by something you could not see properly in the dark. And not just by one creature, by a group that moved and acted together. Every animal a predator had ever faced required getting close before it became dangerous. Humans reversed that. The danger started before contact. The calculation changed completely, but the strangest part of this story is still to come. Because all of these changes, fire, weapons, cooperation, only mattered if predators could learn from them, and it turns out they could. Predators are smarter than most people give them credit for. Scientists studying large predators found something that surprised them. Predators do not just act on instinct, they learn from experience. They remember specific events, and they share that knowledge with others. Here is how it builds. One lion approaches a human camp. The humans wake up. They shout, they grab weapons. They move toward the lion together, something prey animals never do. The lion retreats, confused. That lion now has new information. Humans behave differently than expected. Now something even more important happens. Young lions watch that older lion avoid human camps. They do not need to have the experience themselves. They learn from watching. Researchers studying social learning in predators found that avoidance behavior spreads through predator populations this way, through observation, not just experience. Scientists studying lion populations in East Africa documented this directly. Lions living near human settlements showed completely different behavior from lions in remote areas. They shifted to hunting at different times. They changed their routes. They approached human areas rarely and cautiously, even when food was scarce. Not because of evolution, not because their biology changed, because the knowledge spread. One bad encounter, one lion that came back injured. One night when the attack did not go as planned, and that information traveled through the population, parent to offspring, adult to young, for generations. Fear does not always require thousands of years. Sometimes experience is faster. But this still does not fully answer the original question. We know why predators became cautious around humans in general. But a sleeping human looks defenseless. The fire is out. The human cannot fight back. Why does the caution hold even then? What is the predator actually seeing? Stand in the darkness again. You are the lion. You can see a human lying on the ground, not moving, no fire. Alone. What are you actually looking at? You are looking at a member of the species that first carried fire into your hunting ground over 500,000 years ago. You are looking at the descendant of the creatures that threw spears at predators long before your great-grandparents were born. In your own memory, or in the memory of older lions you have learned from, every encounter with humans has been unpredictable. Sometimes they ran, sometimes they charged, sometimes they threw things, sometimes more of them appeared from nowhere. Scientists call this the human reputation effect. Physically, a human is not impressive. No claws, no armor, no powerful bite. Compared to a lion, a human body is soft and slow. But human behavior is something predators have never been able to predict. A zebra panics and runs. You know what a zebra will do. A buffalo charges. You know what a buffalo will do. A human might run, or charge, or throw something, or make noise that brings others. Or, and this is the one that changed everything, come back later specifically looking for you. Researchers studying animal responses to different species found that predators respond to humans with a level of caution that does not match human physical size. The caution is higher than the physical threat explains, because the physical threat is not what predators are calculating. They are calculating everything their species has ever learned about what happens when you underestimate a human. The sleeping body on the ground is not just a sleeping body, it is a reputation. But here is the question that breaks the pattern. If all of this is true, if the reputation is that powerful, why do predator attacks on humans still happen at all? Kenya. British workers are building a railway bridge over the Savo River. Two lions begin attacking the camp at night. Over 9 months, they kill approximately 35 workers. They drag men from tents, they walk through campfires, they ignore armed guards. They come back night after night. Nothing about the usual protection is working. On the other side of the world, in the Sundarbans forest across Bangladesh and India, Bengal tigers kill dozens of people every year. Fishermen, honey collectors, people who enter the deep forest alone. So if the reputation is real, if predators have genuinely learned to avoid humans, why does this keep happening? Researchers who studied man-eating predators found the same pattern nearly every time. The normal risk calculation had broken down. The Savo lions both had severe dental damage. Healthy lions hunt large, fast prey. But with broken and infected teeth, normal hunting was agonizing. A human, who cannot run fast, who has no thick hide, who does not kick or horn, was simply easier. The usual calculation was overridden by desperation. When an animal is starving or in pain, risk tolerance changes completely. Sundarbans attacks tell a different story. The people attacked are almost always alone. Away from settlements, away from fire, away from other humans. In territory where tigers have rarely encountered the full force of human groups, the reputation only works where the reputation exists. In places where tigers have never experienced humans fighting back as a group, the learning never happened. The system works. But it requires two things: a predator healthy enough to care about risk, and a predator that has encountered humans enough to learn the lesson. Remove either one, and the sleeping human is prey again. Which brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, because it turns out the most important protection was not fire, was not weapons, was not reputation. It was something sleeping humans were never fully aware of. Humans are never all asleep at the same time. Scientists studying the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last groups living in a way close to ancient human life, made a discovery that reframes this entire story. They tracked the sleep patterns of the group across hundreds of nights. What they found was this: at any given moment during the night, someone was awake, not because a schedule was assigned, not because anyone planned it, simply because different people had different natural sleep rhythms. Some woke early, some slept lightly. Some lay quietly alert without fully sleeping. Researchers calculated the probability of every adult in the group being in deep sleep simultaneously. It was almost zero. There was almost always someone listening. Now look at a sleeping human camp through a predator's eyes. A fire that may or may not be fully out. An unknown number of creatures whose unpredictability you have already learned the hard way. And now, you cannot know which ones are actually asleep. The one lying still might be the most alert one in the group. Researchers found that approaching a human camp meant approaching what functioned as a biological alarm system. One person moves, one person hears something, one person makes a sound, and suddenly the entire group is awake, and that group has a reputation. The sleeping human is not sleeping alone. It is sleeping inside a system built over hundreds of thousands of years, specifically so that it would never truly be alone in the dark. And now, After everything, we can answer the final question. Researcher Liana Zanet had a simple question. Which animal does the rest of the animal kingdom fear the most? She set up speakers in wild environments. She played recordings of lions, leopards, hunting dogs, other large predators. She measured how animals reacted, how fast they fled, how long they stayed away. Then she played a human voice, just a person talking. The reaction was larger than anything the predators produced. Animals fled faster, they stayed away longer. Their stress responses were stronger. In multiple environments, across multiple species, the human voice produced more fear than the lion's roar. The creature that started as prey, that was carried off by eagles 2.5 million years ago, that was hunted by ancient cats for millions of years, that creature is now what the rest of the animal kingdom runs from. Not everywhere, not in every situation, but consistently enough that researchers published the finding as one of the most striking results in the study of predator-prey relationships. Which brings us back to where we started. 50,000 years ago, you are lying on the ground beside a dying fire. The darkness is complete. The coals are fading. Somewhere beyond the circle of shadow, a lion is watching. The lion sees you. It calculates. And here is what it knows. Not in words, but in the deep language of everything its species has ever survived. The small orange circles of light in the darkness. The burning things that humans carry after sunset. The ones that started appearing in its territory 500,000 years ago and never stopped. The things that flew through the air before you could get close enough. The ones that hit and hurt before contact. That changed what attack actually meant. The night a member of its family approached a human camp, and the humans did not scatter. They charged, together, as one thing, and it did not end well. The unpredictability that lives in every human it has ever encountered. The way they never quite do what prey is supposed to do. And somewhere in the deep memory of what its species has learned, the understanding that these creatures come back, that they remember, that they hold something that no other prey animal has ever held. A grudge. The lion turns and walks away. Not because you are helpless, because your species spent 1,000,000 years being hunted, and then spent the next 1,000,000 years making sure nothing would ever hunt them the same way again. A sleeping deer is still prey. A sleeping zebra is still prey. A sleeping human is the product of fire built in darkness, spears thrown before contact, groups that charged instead of ran, and grandmothers who passed knowledge across generations. It is a reputation built over hundreds of thousands of years of survival. Predators are not ignoring the sleeping human because it is harmless. They are walking away because somewhere in everything they have learned, they know that the most dangerous thing about a sleeping human is not what it will do when it wakes up. It is everything its species already did, long before tonight.